Hello kids! Welcome to Science 4, Quarter 1, Week 4. I'm Teacher Jessa, your science teacher.
Please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Teacher Jessa TV, where learning is fun and exciting. Hello kids! This is our learning competencies. At the end of the lesson, we should be able to describe changes in properties of materials when exposed to certain changes in temperature, such as changes when wood or coal is burned. Lesson objectives. At the end of the lesson, you should be able to describe changes in matter that involves physical change and chemical change. Investigate to show how changes in properties of materials occur when one is exposed to very high or very low temperatures. And number 3, cite situations where phase change is beneficial. Before we start, let us have first a review. A review about states of matter. Are you ready, kids? Let us have the first one. Solid. Solid has definite shape and volume. It has particles that are packed closely together and usually arranged in a regular pattern. Mug or cup, shirt, book, and eraser are some of the examples of solid. Liquid. Liquid has definite volume but has no fixed shape. It has particles that can move and are in close contact. Syrup, shampoo, olive oil, and orange juice are some of the examples of liquid. Gas has no definite volume and shape. Has particles that are wildly separated. Helium in a balloon, steam from a kettle, argon in a tank, and nitrogen in a tank are some of the examples of gases. The fourth state of the matter is plasma. Plasma has no definite volume and shape. It has charged particles that are wildly separated. The fourth state, thunder, firewall, flame, and comet's tail are some of the examples of plasma. To sum up, let us read the following. Solid has particles that are packed closely together. Liquid has particles that can move and are in close contact. Gas has particles that are wildly separated. And plasma has charged particles that are wildly separated. Please get a plain sheet of paper and try to answer this activity. Today is our day 1, and we will learn about physical change. Let us have first the unlocking content area vocabulary. Before we start, let us read first the direction. We arrange the letters to create a word corresponding to the word given by the teacher. So let me read the meaning. It is to make or become different. So this is the first unscrambled word. Let me see if you know the answer. Correct, kids. The answer is change. For the second, it is a measure of how hot or cold something is. This is our second unscrambled word. Let me see if you know it, kids. Great. The answer is temperature. For the third unscrambled word, with the meaning, it is a type of food with a limited shelf life if it's not refrigerated. What do you think is the answer, kid? Great job! The answer is perishable. For the third one, it is a process in which one or more substances, the reactants, are converted to one or more different substances and its products. What do you think is the answer? It's a big check. Chemical reaction. It is the chemical reaction that occurs between substances when material is burned. What do you think is the unscrambled word? Great job, kids! The answer is combustion. Now let us go to physical change. Melting is a process where a solid turns into a liquid when it gets warm enough. And something melts, becomes soft, and turns into a liquid. For example, when ice cream melts, it becomes liquid instead of being hard like ice. Let us know the three examples of melting. The first one is ice melting. One common example of melting is when ice cubes are left outside on a warm Sunday. As the sun shines on them or the temperature gets warmer, the ice cube starts to melt and turn into water. The second is chocolate melting. Another example is when you heat chocolate in a microwave or over a stove. The solid chocolate turns into a liquid, making it easier to spread or use for making desserts like chocolate-covered strawberries and others. The third one is candle wax melting. When you light the candle, the heat from the flame melts the wax. The melted wax then drips down the candle, creating a pool of liquid wax fuels the flame. Remember kids, understanding melting helps us understand how things change from solid to liquid when they get warm. This process is useful in our daily lives, whether we're cooking, playing, or even recycling. We have here some real-life applications and uses. Cooking, making popsicles, recycling, arts, and crafts. Now let us learn about evaporation. So evaporation is when the liquid turns into a gas. So this happens when the liquid gets warm enough and its molecules move so fast that they escape into the air as vapor. You can think of it like tiny visible water particles flying away from puddle, a cup of water, or even wet clothes when they left out to dry. Kids, always remember that understanding evaporation helps us know how water moves from one place to another. It changes form and even helps make some of the things we use every day. We have here some of the examples of how evaporation works. The first one is drying clothes. So after washing your clothes, you hang them outside to dry. As the sun shines on them and the air around them gets warm, the water on the clothes evaporates and then they become dry. The second one is the puddles disappearing. So after it rains, you might notice that puddles on the ground disappear even if it's not sunny. This happens because the water in the puddles slowly evaporates into the air. And the last one is the steam from boiling water. So when you heat water on a stove to make a tea or cook pasta, steam rises from the pot. This steam is water vapor, formed because the water is evaporating. So for the real-life application and uses, we have swimming pool evaporation. Have you ever noticed that a swimming pool gets lower over time, even if nobody takes water out? This is because water evaporates from the surface of the pool, especially on hot days. That is why sometimes we need to add more water to the pool. Drying wet surfaces. If you spill water on the kitchen counter or the bathroom floor, you can wipe it up with a towel. But what happens if you leave it there? Eventually, the water disappears or evaporates and the surface becomes dry again. And last is the water cycle. So evaporation is a crucial part of the water cycle. When the sun heats up bodies of water like ocean, rivers, and lakes, water evaporates into the air. This water vapor rises, cools down, and forms clouds. Later, when the cloud gets heavy with water, it falls back to the ground as rain, snow, or hail. Another form of physical change is freezing. Freezing occurs when a liquid turns into a solid when it gets cold enough. Imagine water turning into ice when it's left in the freezer or outside a cold winter day. The cold slows down the molecules in the liquid, making them stick together and form a solid. We have here examples of freezing. The first one is making ice cube. So one example of freezing is to make ice cube. You pour water into an ice cube tray and you put it in the freezer. The water freezes and turns into solid ice cube as the water gets cold. The second one is the freezing popsicles. So when you make popsicles at home, you pour juice or flavored water into molds and put them in the freezer. Over time, the liquid freezes, turning into tasty frozen treats. And the last one, of course, is the ice cream. Have you ever seen an ice cream and an ice cream machine and an ice cream shop? It works by freezing a mixture of cream, sugar, and flavors while stirring it. This makes creamy ice cream that you can enjoy in a hot day. For real-life appreciation or application and uses, we have preserving food, keeping cool, transporting perishable goods, and making frozen foods. Hello kids, welcome to our day 2. Hope you will learn many things on our lesson for today. This time, let us have an activity time. But before that, please listen to the instruction and the direction of the teacher. So let us answer these questions based on the activity that we have done. The first one, what happened to the ice cube when placed directly under the sun? What do you call this process? What happened to the wet handkerchief when placed directly under the sun? What do you call this process? What happened to the water inside the plastic bag and leaving it in the freezer outside or overnight? What do you call this process? Here we are, it's our day 3 already. Hope you will learn a lot from our lesson today. So what can you see in the picture? So we can see here wood. So what the wood looks like, feels like, and smells like. So let us do this one. Let us light one end of the wood piece using matches or lighter. Use metal tongue or stick to hold the burning wood for safety. So, be careful and don't play with fire. Place a metal can or fire-safe container underneath to catch any ashes or ember. So burning is a chemical reaction that occurs when a substance is combined with oxygen from air, releasing heat and producing new substances. Okay, here are some of the questions that we may be able to answer based on the first slide that we had. So the first one is, what changes do you see when you light the wood on fire? Describe the color of the flames. Are they the same throughout the burning process? Do you notice any smoke? What do you think is causing it? How does the wood change as it burns? Does it look or feel different? What do you see left behind after the wood has been burned completely? Can you describe the ashes? What do you think they are made of? Based on what you observe, do you think burning of wood is a chemical change or physical change? And why? What do you think happens to the wood molecules during the burning process? Can you name any other examples of chemical change that you have seen or heard about? Okay, here are some of the benefits of the chemical changes. The first one is cooking food. Chemical changes occur when we cook food, turning ingredients into tasty meals. For example, when we bake cookies or grill burgers, the heat causes chemical reaction that make the food taste delicious and safe to eat. So that is one of the chemical changes that happen when we cook the food. So it changes when we bake it or grill it. The second one is making new materials. Chemical changes help us create new materials with useful properties. For instance, baking soda and vinegar react to produce carbon dioxide, which makes baked goods rise and become fluffy. And the third one, producing energy. Chemical changes are essential for providing energy. When we burn wood or fossil fuels like coal or natural gas, chemical reactions release heat and light energy that we use for heating our home, cooking food, and generating electricity. Of course, if there is a good effect or useful effect of the chemical changes, there's also the harmful effect of the chemical changes. The first harmful effect is pollution. Some chemical changes can pollute the air, water, and soil. For example, burning fossil fuel for energy release pollutants like carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide, which contribute to climate change and air pollution. Toxic substances. Certain chemical changes can produce toxic substances that harm the living things. For instance, when plastic is burned, harmful chemicals are released into the air that cause problems if inhaled, especially asthma and bronchitis. And the third one is damage to the environment. So chemical changes can cause damage to the environment and ecosystem. For example, the chemicals from factories and others that get into rivers and oceans can harm the fish and other aquatic life. So there will be no balance of ecosystem if our environment is already destroyed or damaged. Yes, it's our day 4. Let us have a new lesson for today. So let us have here a flow chart. So what are the things that you can see here? So we have here the changes in material. It's either physical change or chemical change. So for physical change, andyan yung melting, solid to liquid, evaporation, liquid to gas, and freezing, liquid to solid. For chemical change, andyan naman ang formation of charcoal, rust formation, production of smoke, formation of ash, and formation of bubbles. And with all these things, there is a formation of new material. So again, physical changes. Physical changes are alteration in the appearance or state of a substance without changing its chemical composition. So in other words, the substance remains the same at a molecular level before and after the change. So physical changes can involve changes in state like solid, liquid, or gas, size, shape, or phase. So let us learn about evaporation. So as you can see in the picture, evaporation occurs on the surface of a liquid when a substance in a liquid state is changing to a gaseous state. So it is from liquid to gas. So evaporation is a physical change in which a liquid substance changes into gas state at temperatures below its boiling point. So during evaporation, molecules at the surface of the liquid gain enough kinetic energy to overcome the intermolecular forces holding them together and escape into the wonderful or surrounding space as vapor. This process occurs spontaneously and continues until there is a balance or equilibrium is reached between the rate of evaporation and the rate of condensation. Common examples of evaporation include water evaporating from puddles, drying clothes on a clothesline, and gradual disappearance of liquid perfume from a container. So this time we have the melting. So when we say melting, it is solid to liquid. Melting is a physical change and a solid substance changes into a liquid state when heated to its melting point. So during melting, the intermolecular forces holding the particles of the solid together weaken, allowing the particles to move freely and flow past each other. This results in the solid substance transforming into into a liquid while maintaining its chemical composition. Common examples of melting includes ice melting into the water, wax, wax melting into a liquid state when heated. How about freezing? For freezing, it is from liquid to solid. So freezing is a physical change in which a liquid substance changes its state into solid. So when it is cooled or when it's cold, its freezing point occurs. And during freezing, the kinetic energy of the molecules decreases, causing them to slow down and form orderly arrangement known as crystals. As a result, the liquid substances transform to solid with a fixed shape and volume while retaining its chemical composition. So that is freezing. So let us always remember that physical changes involve alteration in the state or appearance of a subject without changing a chemical composition. Melting, evaporation, and freezing are examples of these physical changes that occur when substances transition between different states of matter due to changes in temperature and energy. For chemical changes, they are also known as chemical reactions. They involve the transformation of one or more substances into new substances with different chemical properties. Chemical changes can occur due to various factors including exposure of material to high temperature and mixing of different substances. When materials are exposed to high temperature, the increased energy can break even the chemical bonds and facilitate the formation of new materials, leading to the creation of the new substances. Okay, here are the evidence of chemical change. Formation of charcoal. So when wood is heated to high temperature in the absence of oxygen, it undergoes a chemical change called carbonization. So this process removes the water and other substances from the wood, leaving them a black carbon-rich material called charcoal. Example, think of when you have a bonfire or grill marshmallow over a campfire. After being exposed to the heat, the wood turns black and become charcoal. Ito po yung uling na sinasabi nila. Another evidence of chemical change is the formation of bubbles. So bubbles form when a gas is produced during a chemical reaction. So this happens when two or more substances react chemically, producing a gas as one of the products. So the gas form bubbles that rise into the surface. Examples, when you mix baking soda and vinegar, bubbles form because the chemical reaction occurs between the two substances, producing carbon dioxide gas. For the production of smoke, smoke is produced when materials burn incompletely, leading to the release of any tiny particles and gases into the air. It occurs during the combustion of organic materials such as wood, paper, or fossil fuels. Examples are when you light a campfire or a candle, smoke rises from the flame. This is because the materials are undergoing combustion and smoke is produced as a result. Let me test your knowledge on physical and chemical change. Let's have now the evaluation and the formative assessment. But before that, please listen to your teacher. Don't forget to ask for the direction or to the listen to the direction or the instruction of the teacher. Thank you for watching, kids, and thank you for listening, kids. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Teacher Jessa TV, where learning is fun and exciting.